Hello, my fellow risers. How's everybody doing? Alright, let's do this. So what did I do today? I went for a nice long walk with the boys. On the way to hanging out at this one spot that we're hanging out at, Neo, he had gotten wet. He had gotten into the river. Totally normal thing to do. Gets out of the river. There's three women walking. He's out of the river. He's now running along. There's three women walking, taking up the whole path. I go around on one side, sort of off the path, get around them, and he brushes up against the leg of one of them. She goes,
"Oh, hey, don't do that."
And then she says to me,
"Your dog, he got me wet."
And I'm like, "Oh, désolé." And she goes,
"Hey, it's really not cool."
And I go, "Shut the fuck up." You know, whatever. Well, first I was like I was arguing, but I was like, I was still giving my reasons, right? I was like it's water, number one. Number two, you're taking up the whole path anyway. Number three, what do you want me to do about it? So what she wanted me to do about it was to keep an eye on him. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I don't understand. Every time it's possible he's gonna bump into someone and get their leg a little bit wet, I'm supposed to shout out to him and I'm supposed to train him to avoid to move inches, or am I supposed to call him back, or how am I supposed to, what? So she said,
Or you keep him on a leash.
What? Take away into all of his freedom so that he doesn't get your leg wet? By the way, she was wearing like jogging pants. You know those like skinny pants and they'll go down to like here? That's what she was wearing. And like, you know, a workout shirt. That's crazy. So I was like, oh, so you don't have kids, huh? And I had wanted to say, and it's probably too late, right? Good. But that's a little bit too much. But it's funny because I saw my former lady friend. She texted me again, and so we got together. And it was nice, and even to what I had actually said to the woman about, oh, you don't have kids, huh? That's why she's freaking out that a dog bumped into her and that she wants, and she said something about,
It's about looking out for each other.
And I was like, yeah, exactly. He's a being as well. Why would I keep him on a leash just because he might get water? It's so crazy, right? It is crazy, right? But it's funny because of how they reacted when I said my comment about, oh, you don't have kids. She's like,
oh, yikes.
What I hadn't realized is because for women, of course, we teach them that their value is to bring children to the world. And so if you say,
oh, you don't have kids,
then that means that she is not a woman. I hadn't meant it that way. I just meant it like, oh, so you don't know. You don't have kids, so you don't really know what you're talking about. And I wanted her to be like,
oh yeah, don't have kids, and also yeah, if a kid bumped into me or spilled something on me, I probably wouldn't really freak out. I'd probably let the parent know, oh hey, it's not a big deal, it happens.
Whatever. That was my intention. While I'm hanging out with I talk about Farid, and I was like, he's my opposite. He wants a channel so that he can spread so that he can put out his ideas, so he can talk. He loves arguing. He has all these convictions. And anyway, so he and I got into an argument today, a more heated discussion, because at one point he really did annoy me. He interrupted me to say,
hey, that's my opinion.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to hang up. Like, either we're going to have a conversation, in which case I'm going to respond to what you're saying, and you're going to stop protecting what you're saying, and you're going to stop saying,
oh, it's an opinion.
Or I'm going to hang up. Anyway, because he's all anti-feminist, it's just the dumbest stuff. Like,
you know what happens if two people, they get married and then they get a divorce? You know what happens? She'll take half of the shit, blah, blah, blah.
And he's also like,
feminists want to destroy the traditional family unit.
Obviously, yes, that's a good thing. Why would you think that the family unit of 2021 or the family unit, when we're talking about the traditional family unit, we're talking about the family unit of the last 100 years, right, or longer. Why would you think that that's the family unit that's meant to endure until the end of time? Are you fucking trying? Are you making any effort? I went to go hang out with Mario, and I'm biking along, and I get a flat tire. But luckily, Alex called me right there as I was standing there going, what am I going to do? And I told him, hey, I got a flat. And he was like, all right, I'll come. And so that was really cool. So I thought about calling him, but I was like, no, he'll make up some excuse, and that'll make me mad. So I'm not even going to tell him. But yeah, that was awesome. So he arrived, and then this homeless guy outside the front asked me to buy him a beer. He gave me, money for it. Yeah, and then Alex and I biked back home. All right, good night. It's just, it was a really infuriating conversation that I had with Farid, and he's like,
A man has to have convictions
and stuff, and he honestly believes, and I get it. I get how you can be so that you honestly think you have studied and tried to understand things, and you haven't. He said he studied some shit for 10 years or whatever, and he understands all these different things, and it's like, shut the fuck up. You know nothing. And the entire time that you were studying, it was all about trying to be right and trying to support whatever you believed in, and you were finding whatever appealed to you. It was never about learning. I don't think you spent a day in your life learning, Farid. Anyway, so we're gonna see him again. I'll make a video. You know what? The other stuff that he said deserves mentioning. For instance, one of the first things that he said when I asked him whether he was a feminist, and I said, that's not good that you're not a feminist, he said,
I didn't wait for feminism to know that women need to be protected and defended.
I go, what? He goes,
I protect women, I defend them.
And so on. And I was like, that's not what feminism is. What are you talking about? It's about supporting, it's about blah, blah, blah. And he goes, it's about freedom, it's about, whatever feminism, I don't really know. But it's about, maybe neither of us knows, but. And he goes,
yeah, supporting, defending.
I'm just like. Another thing he said, he did the classic line,
men and women are different. I don't believe in
whatever the two words are. One's equality and the other is whatever. And then what else did he say? Oh yeah, he said, because I said to him that his views on women are pleasing. Oh, and then that was another thing. He talks about these girls that he follows on Instagram or whatever, and he said that they compliment him well. They're sweet, they're pretty, they're nice, and all this stuff. And just literally, I was on the phone with the patriarchy. And then another thing he said was, I said to him, these ideas work for you. That's why you believe in them. There's nothing to support the things that you're saying. There may be some things, but there's not well supported, relatively speaking. And I don't know what specific things I'm actually even talking about right now. Anyway, it's wrong and bullshit, I think. And I was saying, but you believe it because it works for you. It serves you, And he goes,
how do you know? Are you trying to tell me what I believe? Hey, how about a little humility? Or why I believe what I believe? How about a little humility?
He says,
hey, are you trying to tell me why I believe what I believe? How about a little humility? Be a little modest, Eris.
And I'm like, yeah, you know what, I am. I am speculating as to why you believe what you believe, and I do think that I know better, and you, the viewer, as well. I bet I can get into your unconscious quicker than you can. I bet I can understand it, understand your motivations, and so on quicker than you can, just like you might even be able, well, no, not if you haven't studied it. And I explained to him because I've spent so much time thinking about this stuff, reading about this stuff, and so on. And he said,
did a scientist tell you? Because, who's to say that right now he's not writing a book that's going to come out in 2 months to say that what he said 8 years ago is all wrong?
And I go, yeah, of course that's possible, okay? And he goes,
so?
And I'm just like, fuck off! Jeez! Anyway, so I got really annoyed when I was hanging out with Bea, and this is what I wanted to mention earlier, because I was saying that Farid's my opposite. He wants to spread his ideas, he wants to argue, he has convictions and all this stuff, and he thinks he's always right, and smiling at me, and I'm like, this is why we're not spending time together. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need you looking at me like, you know, making me believe that I might be, you know, someone who always thinks that I'm right. Because in fact, in that moment, in all those times that people have made me go, oh shit, do I always think that I'm right? In that moment, I'm saying, oh shit, am I wrong? Am I wrong about myself? So it's bullshit. So I started to get up and leave, and I was like, all right, peace. But then she was like,
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about you, I was talking about me.
I don't know how true that was, but I think the lesson was learned anyway. So I was like, okay, I'll stay for a bit. Okay, too long. Bye.